Hello, everybody. It's great to see the room full tonight. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor. This is the July 24th, 2024 meeting of the Brighton Town Board, and I hereby call this meeting to order. We will begin the open forum portion of our meeting in just a few minutes. Open forum is that portion of the meeting when members of the public have the opportunity to share comments that they may have with the town board. I will give more detailed instructions on the open forum when we get to that part of the meeting, but I will note right now that if you are watching us on YouTube, you'll have to log into the meeting on Zoom if you want to participate in the open forum, or for that matter, in either of the two public hearings that we have tonight. We do have detailed instructions for logging on to the Zoom meeting on the town webpage, and that, of course, is www.townofbrighton.org. As we've done for many years, we make all of our town board meetings accessible to the deaf and hard of hearing community with our ASL interpreters. That's Heather Pickett, you see signing right now, and Sarah Kadar is with her tonight. As a reminder to everyone, if you're here in the room, the agenda is on the back table, along with all of the materials that we're relying on in making our decisions tonight. If you are watching us remotely, you can access all of those same materials on the Town of Brighton webpage. If you are able to rise, I ask that you do so we can start the meeting with the pledge to the flag. I'll ask Councilmember Warner to lead us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Chris. August 4th through August 10th is the 25th annual National Farmers Market Week. National Farmers Market Week celebrates the important role that farmers markets play in our food system. Now in Brighton, we know that every week is Farmers Market Week because we have been fortunate for many years now to have a farmers market that operates not only in the summer, but also throughout the winter season as well. And whether it's winter or summer, the Brighton Farmers Market is the place to be for local farm produce, for food trucks, for music, for community activities. It's really special because there are so many things going on and so many people enjoying them. All of that happens, or at least in no small part, that all happens because of our market manager, Sue Gardner-Smith. And I'm going to ask Sue to join me at the podium, and I will read our Farmers Market Week proclamation. Thank you, Sue. 17 years, Sue has been our market manager. We reminisce occasionally about going back and remembering when I was the town attorney and you came in and met with Supervisor Sandy Frankel. You were managing another market, and Sandy had a vision for what a farmer's market could look like, and so did you. And forever grateful for that meeting and all that has come from it. So let me read this. Whereas National Farmers Market Week launches a week-long recognition of the importance of farmers markets, from supporting local farms and farmers to building community. And whereas farmers markets expand opportunities for producers to sell directly to consumers, sustaining a network of small to mid-sized farm sales and local food products while promoting healthy eating and supplying fresh food options for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, the SNAP program. And whereas the Brighton Farmers Market is integral to the quality of life in Brighton, offering entertainment and prepared food, and promoting fresh vegetables, fruits, and meats, while supporting local commerce, shortening the farm-to-table supply chain and showcasing regional offerings from within a 50-mile radius of the town. Whereas the Brighton Farmers Market is well-loved, enjoys a regular following, and is a destination for visitors drawn by its stellar reputation, thanks to the exemplary work of our market manager, the incomparable Sue Gardner-Smith, who pulls the entire market together every week and whose hands-on, community-centered approach makes our market a nearly irresistible and always enjoyable Sunday excursion. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and the members of the Town Council do hereby extend our gratitude to Sue Gardner-Smith and encourage residents and visitors alike to explore the diverse array of vendors, activities, and flavors found at the Brighton Farmers Market. And this proclamation is signed the 24th day of July, 2024, by the four of us town board members that are here tonight, and I know Council Member Wilt, if she could have been here tonight, would have signed and shared the same feeling, because she certainly does attend the market like all of us do. So I am so pleased, Sue, to be able to present this proclamation to you. So we'll do a little photo op. And if you'd like to say a few words.
Just thank you, Bill, for being our greatest supporter, our tallest supporter, for sure. Bill has been such a wonderful provider of support and encouragement and just all kinds of help. So we're very grateful for that. But also to the whole town board, to all of the town. The town really supports this market in a way that really contributes to the success of it. I've known of many other markets that flounder. Having the really staunch support of this town has made a huge difference to our success. So thank you very much. And thank you for this.
You're welcome. What's not to love? Our next presentation tonight recognizes members of the Brighton Police Department who have received promotions, but we're giving some very public recognition of their extraordinary work tonight. I'll say it anytime anybody asks me, the Brighton Police Department is as fine as any law enforcement agency in the state of New York. I'm proud of the work all of the members of this department do, working with segments of the community every single day. You know, we just talked about the farmers market. We have Brighton police officers who now have a spot in the community garden. And seeing that relationship, seeing the two of them working with other community members who have plots in the garden as well, it's wonderful. Always looking for ways to engage with the community and always looking for ways to keep the Brighton community safe. So Chief Cathaldi, I will turn the floor over to you to announce and recognize some very well-deserved promotions. Thank you.
Yes, you might as well stay right up here, Bill. I want to welcome all the members being sworn in this evening, along with their coworkers, families, and friends that are here to support them. It's a time of great pride and reflection on a job well done. I know each of you has put in time, effort, and dedication to the community to earn a well-deserved promotion. I take my responsibility in promoting and hiring people very seriously. I trust that each of you will conduct yourself in a manner that will reflect well upon this department and the community in which you serve. We have seen too many unfortunate instances, locally and nationally, where difficult problems have developed, which otherwise could have been avoided had a leader demonstrated the courage to take corrective action. The courage to act is exactly what I'm looking for from each of you. I know these are sober thoughts, but I would not have recommended you for promotion if I didn't feel you were up to the challenge. I have the utmost confidence in your ability to lead effectively, and I personally look forward to working with each one of you to keep Brighton one of the safest communities in the area. We can start with the first promotion. Tim Karch, please come up. You're also welcome to bring the family up if you want. Wife, kids, this is a family event. If you want to come up, feel free. I don't want to force anybody, but it's not that scary.
It doesn't happen every day.
And it doesn't happen every day. Captain Timothy Karch has been a dedicated member of this department for 21 years and has served as an officer, investigator, sergeant, and lieutenant. He holds a master's degree in law enforcement and public safety leadership from the University of San Diego. He's the recipient of the prestigious William W. Spurgeon Award for his leadership and is advisor to the Brighton Police Youth Explorer Program. He's received 3 Excellent Police Service Awards, and he was recognized with 5 Stop DWI Awards for his work in arresting intoxicated drivers. He is also a graduate of the FBI National Academy, session number 285. As part of our senior management team, he will command the Criminal Investigation Division, which oversees all major investigations and includes many of the administrative functions of the police department. Dan, if you want to come up and swear him in. Normally, this is just a ceremonious thing, but this is the real deal. He has not yet been sworn in. Wherever you think you can go to.
Cameras.
You want to step up and get the family up here?
Which way to go? This is probably good. You can get to the camera. Yeah. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Timothy Karch,
I, Timothy Garsh,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of police captain
of police captain
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my abilities. Thank you.
Tim, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, everybody. I'm going to keep this very, very, very short and sweet, not only because it's 900 degrees in here, but because there are 3 very dedicated, talented individuals that are waiting to go after me, and I don't want to keep them waiting. Mr. Supervisor, members of the town board, Chief Cataldi, thank you for placing your faith in me to promote me to this position. I promise you that I will continue working hard and serving the town of Brighton to the best of my ability to keep all our community safe and all those that come within the confines of our community safe. Thank you, and I look forward to charging ahead.
Lieutenant Keith Wardard, come on up. Feel free to bring your family up if you want. We'll get photos. Lieutenant Keith Wardard has been a dedicated member of this department for 13 years. He served as an officer and most recently as a senior sergeant in the department. He holds a bachelor's degree of science from SUNY Oneonta. Lieutenant Wardard has received 3 Excellent Police Service Awards during his career and recently obtained the FBI Law Enforcement Executive Development Association Trilogy Award for completing 3 successive leadership seminars, adding to the concept that were preceded in the previous sessions. Lieutenant Wardard will be in command of our afternoon shift. Dan?
There you go. I, Keith Woodard,
I, Keith Woodard,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and
and
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York.
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of police lieutenant
of police lieutenant
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my abilities. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank Chief Cathaldi, Supervisor Maley, and the town board. I look forward to this opportunity. I also would like to thank the men and women that I've worked with. I wouldn't be here without you guys, and I truly appreciate your support. Most importantly, I'd like to thank my family. Without them, I certainly wouldn't be here, especially my wife, with everything that she's put up with over the last 15 plus years of law enforcement experience. So again, thank you very much, and I look forward to it.
Sergeant Sean Pack, why don't you come up? Bring your family up as well. Sergeant Sean Pack has served as an officer with us for the last 6.5 years. He holds an associate's degree in criminal justice from Monroe Community College. Sean has received 1 Excellent Police Service Award, 1 Service Award from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and 1 Stop DWI Award for his work in arresting intoxicated drivers. Once he completes his training, he'll be assigned as a first-line supervisor on the afternoon shift. And as the newest sergeant, I expect a lot out of him. Sean?
I, Sean Peck,
I, Sean Peck,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States
to support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of police sergeant
of police sergeant
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my abilities. Thank you. It's going to sound oddly familiar to the last speech, but I would honestly like to thank Chief Cathaldi, town supervisor, and the town board for this opportunity. I've got a lot of work ahead of myself. It's something new for me, but I look forward to the opportunity, and I look forward to working with all the men and women that I was working with before. So, and once again, most importantly, I'd like to thank my wife and my excited daughter. So, all right, thank you.
Last but not least, for sure, Officer Dietrich. All right, you want to come up and bring your family? So Officer Dietrich's not getting promoted tonight, obviously, for those who don't know. But it's been a tradition to introduce new members of the community at this forum and to be ceremoniously sworn in to let the community see the caliber of the young officers that we have in this town. Officer Dietrich is the newest member of our department. He was interviewed and recommended by our citizen interview panel and started with us just last month. Luke is still completing his field training, which consists of riding with a seasoned field training officer. He comes to us from the Livingston County Sheriff's Office, where he served as deputy sheriff for 2 years, primarily as a school resource officer. He's also DARE certified. We look forward to watching Officer Dietrich grow in his new role as police officer in the town of Brighton.
It's a little less stressful when we did this the first time.
I know.
It was a little less odds.
Very quiet that time.
But, all right. I, Luke Dietrich,
I, Luke Dietrich,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States
to support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of a police officer
of police officer
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my abilities. Thank you. commencement speeches, I'm sorry. But I would like to thank the town board for the opportunity to be here. I know how seriously you guys take your police department. I've heard nothing but good things being here. I got big shoes to fill, so I look forward to the challenges, and I look forward to spending the next 20 plus years here meeting the community. So thank you.
So this concludes the ceremony for the swearing in and promotions this evening. If you want, they'll lead you downstairs. There's some refreshments down there for the family. So please go and enjoy that. We'll get photos for everybody. I want to wish everybody the best of luck. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We'll give everybody a chance to head downstairs for the reception on that swearing in, and then we'll resume. Iced coffee. I don't know. You know, one of the things the chief mentioned there at the end, and I think it bears repeating, when we hire a police officer in the town of Brighton, we have a community interview panel. Some, you know, people with a variety of backgrounds, some law enforcement related, mostly not. And they have a chance to meet and interview each police officer before we get a recommendation to hire them. I think that exemplifies how the town's commitment to community policing starts right at the beginning. We want to make sure that members of the community have the chance to meet our newest officers and really express to them what the community expects of its police officers, and in return it makes for the kind of strong, competent, professional department that we have from the very top of the department all the way down. So that's just one of the many ways that we make sure that the Brighton Police Department truly is second to none. Okay, we will now begin the open forum portion of the meeting. We hold our open forum at the beginning of every town board meeting. It's an opportunity for members of the public to address the board concerning any matter relating to the town, whether or not it's on tonight's agenda. I will say that if you are here for one of the two public hearings, either the proposed local law relating to special events, permits for special events and demonstrations, or for the sewer district extension, I would encourage you to wait until those public hearings are open, and your comments can then be included in the record of those public hearings. But if you do want to speak during the open forum and you're here in person, please raise your hand. When I call on you, please come up to the podium to speak. If you're participating in the meeting remotely, as I mentioned earlier, you have to join the meeting on Zoom. But if you're there on Zoom, use the Zoom raised hand function and you will be admitted, you will be unmuted and given the opportunity to speak. All speakers, whether you're here in person or remotely, I would ask that you state your name and address before speaking. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes, and I will give a 30-second warning before your time expires. If you have questions for us, we may not be able to answer them, particularly if they relate to matters that are not on the agenda this evening. But our goal during the open forum always is to give you, the community, the opportunity to share your thoughts with the town board and for us to be able to listen to your words. So please direct your remarks to the town board and not to the room or other speakers. Please refrain from personal attacks and from outbursts of any kind, including applause, boos, or similar disruptions during the open forum, out of respect for the speakers and out of respect for the time of everybody here in this hot room tonight. Also, out of respect for everybody here, we do not allow signs to be displayed during town board meetings, including during the open forum. We will warn people who don't follow these rules. If repeated violations occur, we may terminate your speaking privileges early or ask you to leave the meeting or even end the open forum early. I don't anticipate having to do that, but we do want to make everybody understand that the open forum is a time for respect and for listening to others. So with that, is there anyone here in the room that would like to address the board during the open forum? Judy, do you want us to get you the microphone, Judy? Okay.
There cannot be enough accolades given to Sue Gardner-Smith for what she's done for us as a community.
Can I ask you to?
Oh, I'm sorry, Judy Schwartz,
Thank you.
179 Ashbourne Road. I should know that, sorry.
We all know you, but.
Well, I'm sorry. She is remarkable. I don't think we realize how really, really hard she works every single week for all of us. I have learned so much from her. I never thought about eating foods in season. Now I know why strawberries are like rubber and tasteless in January, because they're not from here. That's another story. But I've learned to eat root vegetables we have in the winter and so on and so forth. But she's incredible. She really is very unassuming. And the best byproduct is this, to me and to most Brightonians, is the event that brings us together all the time as a real community. I mean, when you look around and watch people interacting and families with their children, there is nothing like it that we have. And she has done all of this for us. And as I say, she cannot receive enough accolades. So I'm just adding about 10 more tonight. And I'm so glad she was honored. Thank you.
Well, she's probably not watching live because she hasn't made it back home yet, but I will make sure she knows your kind remarks. And, you know, and it's so true, Judy, 2 weeks ago, someone I knew had family visiting from New York City, you know, relatively young folks, but, you know, asked them, do you have anything like this in New York City? Nothing. No, they'd never seen anything as good as the Brighton Farmers Market. So that's just one example. Every single week, there are people there for the first time, which is extraordinary, which is why the parking lot is getting fuller and fuller. But what Sue has done is nothing short of extraordinary, and we're certainly grateful to have her, and thank you for those very, very kind words. Is there anyone else here who would like to address the board during the open forum? And I don't see anybody on our Zoom broadcast. So, Chris, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
If no one else is available for open forum, I move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Can I just ask, and John may have been about to mention this, you will note on one of the items of new business is referenced as a lease agreement with Empire State University. Technically, it is actually a license agreement. A license agreement. So if we could.
I was going to address that. Thank you, Supervisor. I would request a amendment to the agenda to replace the words lease agreement with a revocable permit to match the title of the document, which is a license agreement, but that is how the state has titled the document. So revocable permit.
Great.
With that amendment, Bill, I move that we approve that amended agenda.
And I second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Malin?
Aye. We have two public hearings on the agenda tonight. The first public hearing is the third meeting that we've held this public hearing. Commenced at our second town board meeting in June. It concerns a proposed local law entitled a local law to amend Chapter 113 of the Code of the Town of Brighton with respect to demonstration and special event permits. That public hearing was tabled 2 weeks ago, and it was tabled 2 weeks before that to continue the public hearing. And I will ask for a motion to remove it from the table in just a minute. But before I do that, I do want to remind everybody of our rules for public hearings. If you would like to speak during the public hearing and you are here in person, please raise your hand. When I call on you again, please come up to the podium to speak. If you're participating remotely, again, like we did before during the open forum, please use the Zoom raised hand form, and please participate on Zoom. That's the only format that we can open you up for your audio. You'll be admitted to the Zoom meeting, and then you can use that Zoom raised hand function. We do ask that you state your name and address for the record of the hearing before you speak. Please direct your remarks to the town board and not to the room or other speakers. Again, please refrain from personal attacks and from outbursts of any kind, including but not limited to applause, boos, or similar disruption during the hearing, out of respect for all the speakers, out of respect for everybody's time tonight. Also, out of respect for others in the room who may not be able to see, we do not allow signs to be displayed during town board member meetings, including during public hearings. Repeated failure to follow these rules, well, failure to follow those rules will give you a warning. But repeatedly, we may take further action, including your speaking privileges may be ended, or you may be directed to leave the meeting. Now, as I mentioned at our last town board meeting, the Public Safety did discuss the proposed local law at the Public Safety Committee meeting in July. We have held 2 previous public hearings, and reflecting some of the comments that we heard at those 2 previous public hearings, as well as the discussion at the committee meeting and some case law material that were provided to the attorney to the town, and some work Mr. Mancuso, our attorney to the town, has done himself in terms of research. Mr. Mancuso has prepared a new revised draft of the proposed local law. Board members, you have that in your packet tonight. It is marked to show the changes from the original version of the local law. And with those changes, we obviously want to give everybody the opportunity on the board to review it, as well as the public. At our last town board meeting, Councilmember Wilt advised the board that she would not be at tonight's meeting and asked that we, again, continue the matter over, and certainly as a matter of professional courtesy, that's exactly what we were doing. We will not be taking a vote tonight, and we will continue the public hearing through the next meeting as well, to give everybody the opportunity to comment on the new language. So tonight, if you've had a chance to see that language, you're obviously welcome to comment on it, or the original matter. Of course, again, the purpose of having a public hearing, it's required by state law when you approve a local law, but it's an opportunity for us to listen and learn, to hear what the community is thinking, and to give that input due consideration before we take a vote. So as I mentioned, we will be leaving the public hearing open again until the August 14th meeting. As I mentioned at the last meeting, the town board voted to table the public hearing until tonight. And Christine, can I have a motion to remove the public hearing on the proposed local law, amending Chapter 113 of the Brighton Town Code from the table, and reopen that public hearing?
I move that we remove the amendment to the local law of amending Chapter 113 from the table and reopen the public hearing.
Second. That's motion to remove from a table is not subject to discussion. So Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner? Aye. Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Having removed that matter from the table, I now declare the public hearing on the proposed local law to be open, and I'll ask Attorney to the Town, John Mancuso, to go over the changes in this latest version. John?
Thank you, Supervisor. So as you indicated earlier, based on comments received from the prior public hearings, feedback and discussion from the Public Safety Committee meeting, as well as additional feedback received from members of the board and additional research that was undertaken by myself, I have provided the board with a red line of some revisions to the initial draft of the local law to address some of those comments and discussion that we have had over the last couple of months. So to summarize those briefly, one item that we addressed in a few instances throughout the proposed local law was simply the interaction between this permitting scheme and existing usage of town facilities, so athletic fields and other events that are already regulated by the Parks Department. There was discussion with Matt Beeman as to ensuring that there was no conflict between existing activities and what this law would do to impose permitting requirements in our parks. And so we have built in some language to clarify those instances to allow for prior regulation of use of regularly scheduled athletic events that have already been approved by the Parks Department. We've also clarified existing permitting requirements and rental requirements for our lodges and pavilions and playing fields to make sure that those still move forward as they always have without interruption or alteration from this law. We have also, I have also provided some proposed revisions with respect to processing and timing requirements associated with the request for permitting for both special events and demonstrations. There were questions raised about the timing. The original law provided for 5 days for demonstration permits. That has been reduced to 72 hours. We have also provided for a default approval mechanism that if we do not act within 48 hours of receipt, that it will be deemed to be approved, which was in response to comments as to whether if we simply did not act as an intentional denial of the permit through an action rather than an affirmative act, what would that mean? So we have made clear that that would mean that the permit will be granted so that the demonstration may be able to proceed. We have also introduced a more specific spontaneous demonstration provision into the proposal. Before, it was a processing mechanism as to whether it would be feasible. We've now clarified that spontaneous demonstrations based on news or events that would come into public knowledge less than 72 hours prior to the demonstration may be conducted in certain parks within the town, our larger facilities that can handle spontaneous demonstrations without a great safety concern. And instead of a permitting requirement, it would simply be a notification requirement to the police department, which goes back to the overarching concept of the purpose of the law, which is to provide adequate notice to law enforcement so that they can dispatch appropriate officers and other safety measures to ensure that members of the public are protected, and as well as those that are demonstrating may do so peacefully. So that has been provided in the proposal. That requires a 24-hour notice provision. So they would simply have to contact the police department 24 hours prior to engaging in the spontaneous demonstration, and they may be permitted to proceed in the parks that are listed in the proposed local law. We have also provided, there were some questions on some of the regulations on physical obstructions or interference. The language and the breadth of the last iteration, I have provided some additional definitions to further clarify and be more specific as to what it means to physically obstruct adjacent walkways, as well as to clarify what it means to interfere with those same facilities. And then finally, the last revision that has been made is to the penalty provision. Because of the way the town code is structured, all of our chapters that are permitted to provide for penalties under state law they cite back to a centralized chapter within the town code. Because we're talking about First Amendment regulation, I've simply provided a clarification that it's not simply a violation of the chapter, it's a knowing violation of the chapter. So it imposes a mental state requirement to ensure that someone that is innocently potentially violating some aspect of this may not necessarily be subject to the penalty provisions. There has to be a knowing engagement in that activity to violate it, to trigger a penalty, which is more consistent with the First Amendment case law dealing with penalty provisions and speech. So with that, that's really a summary of the revisions. Happy to answer any further questions the board may have.
I appreciate, John, your providing this to us earlier this afternoon. Give us an opportunity, and you've done a lot of work incorporating all of those comments, and I think you've threaded the needle on many of them. It's quite difficult, so good job.
Thank you.
John, the one and you may have talked about this, and I might have missed it, but I know we sort of talked about two different kinds of spontaneous events.
Oh. Yes, Supervisor, thank you. So we've addressed both spontaneous speech as well as a subset of spontaneous speech, which would be a counter event. So someone that wishes to engage in a spontaneous counter demonstration in response to a demonstration. So we've also accounted for that in the proposed changes to the local law. It would still require the counter event to comply with the requirements of the chapter, with the exception of the location limitation. So, for example, if somebody was demonstrating and had a permit to demonstrate in, let's say, the Sandra Frankel Nature Park, and someone wished to engage in a counter event, they're allowed to do that counter event in the same place as the demonstration is occurring. So we don't need to separate the two. That would apply. That's an exception to the spontaneous event, which would be only happening in Meridian Center Park and Buckland Park, our two larger parks.
Thank you. Is there anyone here in person that would like to address the board on the subject of this public hearing? I know it's a lot to process, even with John's great summary there. And again, we will continue the public hearing at our next meeting. Yes?
Well, can I just ask a clarifying question?
Sure, and if you can come up to the podium. Thank you, Meredith.
Meredith Dragon, Brandy Wine Lane. It's a very simple question. So you mentioned that the vote would happen at the next meeting, which I thought was August 7th, but you said August 14th.
14th.
It is the 14th, not
14th
7th.
is the second Wednesday
Got it. Okay.
of the month. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's my current expectation, that we'll vote that night, but anybody else here in the room like to speak during the public hearing? I do not see anybody on our Zoom indicating an interest in speaking. One last chance. Is there anyone here in the room that would like to address the board on this public hearing? If not, can I have a motion, Councilmember Corrado again, to table this public hearing until the next town board meeting on August 14th at 7 p.m.
I move that we table this public hearing until August 14th at 7 p.m.
Second.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Malin?
Aye. Our next public hearing tonight relates to the proposed extension number 111. All day I've been struggling between 111 extension and 113, chapter 113 of the code, so if I get them wrong, please bear with me. This is Sewer District Extension number 111 to the Brighton Consolidated Sewer District. I'll ask the town clerk, has the necessary legal notice been given in this matter?
Yes, Supervisor. This notice was published in the July 8th edition of the Daily Record.
Thank you. Legal notice has been given, and I declare this public hearing to be open, and I'll ask our Commissioner of Public Works, Jim Sprague, if you have any comments on what is a one-lot sewer district extension.
No particular comments, really. This is indeed a one-lot, one-house extension of an existing sewer district, so we can extend service to that one additional residence.
And it's on West Henrietta Road, and forgive me, I'm forgetting the address here. It's 2000.
2222.
I was going to say that. I thought it was, but 2222 West Henrietta Road. The 111s and the, so good, 2222. Is there anyone here that would like to address the board on the matter of extension 111 to the Brighton Consolidated Sewer District? And I see no one on our Zoom either. Anybody on the board have any comments? Hearing none, then I declare this public hearing to be closed, and I will, it only seems like I'm picking on Councilmember Corrado, but since all of these areas are within the purview of the Public Works, I'll go to you again.
Happy to do so. On the matter regarding the establishment of Extension 111 to the Brighton Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District, I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Communications, we have none new communications to enter into the record, so we'll go right to committee reports. Community Services Committee, Councilmember Wilt is not here, but you guessed it, Councilmember Corrado.
Ding, ding, ding.
Boy, it's a good thing you're here.
All right. Well, Community Services Committee met on July 17th. Covered plenty of ground. We received communication from a resident requesting an update on the Community and Recreation Center feasibility study. The committee discussed the need to share an update with the community, and we should be posting some helpful information on the website in the near future. And I don't know if you want to comment further on that, Supervisor.
I'll be talking about some somewhat related matters.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
In park issues, we debriefed on the 4th of July event. Everyone was very pleased with the outcome. Vendors all reported that they did well this year. There was a discussion of the event music. It was all excellent. We also touched on ways to improve handicap accessibility at the event and to the park in general. The expansion of handicap parking was very welcome by community members. And an Eagle Scout has taken on a project to install an additional ramp on the paths connecting Meridian Center parking lot to the grounds of the park. That will improve access considerably for anybody on wheels. And there was a little talk of the replacement of the Brighton Town Hall playground that is slated for next year.
Correct.
Correct. So, and that discussion was tipped off based on discussion about the opening of the playground at Town Park, which should be coming soon. In the meantime, please respect the fencing around the park, around the playground, as it's not yet completely safe for children to use. Rec programs, the concert series is underway on Tuesday evenings in Buckland Park. I have not had a chance to attend, but I trust others at the table here have.
Yes, the first two were great. Last night, unfortunately, it was rained out.
Well, there's always at least one, at least one. The town pool is open for the season, although it does also get closed for rain events. Periodically check social media to see if the weather looks threatening, if the pool will be open. Camps are underway. All are having a good time. There are still a few spaces remaining for 1 or 2 weeks, and we know tail end of summer, families often find themselves with a need for activity for their children. So sign up. The first Brighton Community Bike Ride in partnership with Reconnect Rochester was held on July 12th. 35 bicyclists participated. Lots of folks saw the canal trail that they haven't seen before, ever. It was amazing how many first-timers on the canal path, first-timers on the Highland Crossing Trail, first-timers on, what else did we reach? Golly, I can't remember the third segment, but it was a great
Brickyard
ride.
Trail?
I'm
Were you
sorry.
on the Brickyard Trail?
We did not cover the Brickyard Trail on that ride. But great activity for all ages of bicyclists. The only requirement is that you can control your bicycle, recommended for about 4th grade and older. And by older, we mean all ages. The next one is scheduled for Friday, August 9th, about, I believe it's 6:45 it'll take off, and we're meeting up at Town Hall this time to check out the new bike lanes on Elmwood Avenue and other bicycle infrastructure and lower stress ways to get around town. What more can I share with the community here? Let's see. Fall programs are in planning process at the moment, and that is all for the recreation. Winter Farmers Market update. We discussed continued site development to increase use at the site and provide opportunity to move the market there when necessary due to construction at Brighton High School anticipated next season. The Idea Board, we had an update on the Pride Parade and the plans for that, which took place this past weekend. And we anticipate the Town Talk series to return in the 4th quarter of this year. The community CEC, those are my initials, but that is not what this refers to, and I am
Clean
stumped
Energy
every time.
Community.
Thank you. Clean Energy Community Priority Actions and Sustainability Funds update. The applications for the next round of funding are approved, and the project will enable us to get to the next level of grant funding, and the town, in collaboration with our Director of Finance, working on establishing an assigned fund balance for grant funding of this sort. The Pollinator Pathway Challenge update. The Conservation Board initiated the Pollinator Pathway Challenge earlier this season. Over 24 signs have been placed about the community. Folks have gone through the checklist in their yards, determined that they meet at least 10 of the criteria. They have delivered those checklists to the Public Works office, and in exchange have received a lovely sign to put in their yard. The Conservation Board is contemplating field trips to cultivated town properties, so Town Hall or 12 Corners Park, to assess those to see if the town properties meet the Pollinator Pathway Challenge, which we anticipate they will. Clean sweep and recycling events updates. Recycling event is slated for Sunday, October 27th. We are working on securing a vendor who is capable of handling the volume of donations coming in, donations as in materials being shredded, as well as the electronic materials. Because we've been meeting or exceeding the capacity of those trucks, we do remind residents that these are for residential papers, not cleaning out office papers, which are typically more voluminous. Council member on the corner is continuing at the Brighton Farmers Market, one of the other great ways that the market brings the community together. The next time that council members will be present on your corner in the market will be August 18th, and the topic will be the town hall renovation and moves and other associated updates. And we'll hear more about that later too. In new business, the committee heard an update on the Action for a Better Community ABC green lining program. ESL has seen some movement with their community impact program, and new staff within the ESL organization will hopefully increase productive conversations between the town and ESL to work towards more equity in access to housing here.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Operative word, hopefully. We'll get there. Upcoming events, to my mind, the most exciting one is not just the community bicycle ride on August 9th, but the Mighty Motors event, second time around, Thursday, August 22nd. There will be a sensory-friendly portion from 4 until 4:45, and then the full-on loud and sensory overload portion will be from 5 to 7, and that's at the Public Works Department on Elmwood Avenue. Jim, remind me the exact address of the DPW?
1941.
Thank you. So that'll be great fun. Registration is not required, but you can find the details about it on the recreation site. And that is all. The committee meets next on Wednesday, August 21st at 9:30 in the morning, or delayed if the Finance Committee runs a little long.
Thank you, Christine. And the one thing you didn't mention, although that too will be on the agenda momentarily, is your own support and sponsorship of the rides, the bike rides. So that's a wonderful thing, and we'll be accepting that generous donation in a few minutes. Finance, Nate.
Supervisor, I thought Councilmember Corrado was going to do this one too.
Oh, Nate, you do not want me doing anything with numbers.
Mr. Supervisor, we last met, the FASC Committee, the Finance Administrative Services Committee, last met on July 17th. We discussed, as Councilmember Corrado mentioned, a fund balance for sustainable projects. We also, Supervisor, you also presented the second quarterly report. And we discussed our discussion around the capital improvement plan will continue on August 7th, which is our next meeting, right here at 8:30 a.m. Everything else that the committee discussed is on tonight's agenda.
Thanks, Nate. And I may have presented that second quarter report, but it was prepared by our finance director. Thank you, Earl. Public safety. Chris.
Thanks, Bill. Now, first, and speaking of public safety, will Councilmember Salzman be operating any of that equipment on the 22nd?
That sounds good. Jen?
You get to sit in the driver's seat.
All right, I'll take it.
You make motor noises, but other than
I'll take it.
Really. Public safety has not had a second meeting this month, as typical. Our next meeting will be August 13th at 0800, and the public is invited.
Thank you. And Public Works.
Same
Back to
goes for
Councilmember Corrado.
Right back to me. Same goes for Public Works. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, August 13th, following Public Safety, generally wrapping up. Public Safety wraps up at 9 on the dot, and we move on to Public Works at that time.
Thank you. Moving to new business, reading and approval of claims. Nate.
Earlier today, I reviewed claims totaling $1,015,586.50. Notable claims include a payment to Young Explosives Corp., payment for the fireworks display for the July 4th event, which I've heard great things about. I couldn't attend, but my family was there, and they had a great time. Just a reminder that the pool is open. We have a payment for the opening and maintenance of the Town Hall pool, $4,623.84. Bill, the claims all appear to be in order, and I move for them to be approved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. Chris, the next matter.
The next matter, Bill, is to authorize the solicitation of bids for the demolition and removal of the milking barn structure at 1435 Westfall Road. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
This is not an easy one because this is one of the buildings at the site of the former farm that is now the home to the Brighton Winter Farmers Market barn. But we've had issues with that building for a long time. As you know, the roof is now gone. We had questions about the long-term viability of the structural integrity of what was left of the building without the roof, and we certainly had questions of the ability to redevelop that facility, taking note of the structural soundness or lack thereof of what is there. We're also looking long-term at how best we can use all of the facilities out there. And given the condition of the floor, the clear structural issues that would have to be addressed before any future use could be had and the cost of doing that, it is recommended by our recreation director that we make the tough decision to demolish that building. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner? Aye. Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. Nate?
The next matter seeks to amend the budget by transferring $3,895 from the Highway Department's Maintenance and Repair Services account to the Building Improvement account for the addition of a mini-split air conditioning unit in the mechanic shop. I move that we approve the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
As you can gather from this resolution, this isn't the only room that has some issues getting cool enough to work in. And this is relatively small budget transfer will allow that issue to be addressed in the mechanic shop. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. Next, we are setting a public hearing to adopt a local law amending the town code, chapter 211, section 3.2, relating to flood damage protection. That change is coming at the request of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the DEC. And the proposal is that we would hold a public hearing on that proposed law at our August 28th meeting of the town board. Christine, can I have a motion on that, please?
Yes, I move that we set a public hearing to amend the town code flood damage protection, chapter 211, section 3.2, for technical reasons at the request of New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. That public hearing to be held on August 28th at 7 p.m.
Second.
Thank you, Nate. Discussion, or Jim, anything you want to say? Obviously, this is just setting the public hearing, so we'll have opportunity for the public to comment.
This is a continuation of the effort when the FEMA changed the flood map numbering. So this is required to get our local law to properly reflect the new numbers of the flood maps in our town.
Good. Thank you. More to follow. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Dan?
Just one clarification. Typically, we schedule 2 meetings out rather than scheduling it for the next board meeting. But given that this was already pushed out once, not by our fault, but because DEC changed something, and we have 3 weeks between meetings, I just wanted to point out that if time is important, if it would make a difference or make life easier with our relations with that department, I think the 3 weeks gives us time to get notice.
Yes, it does.
For that meeting.
We can do that. That would help us.
Christine, you made the motion. Can I ask for a friendly amendment to change the public hearing date to August 14th at 7 p.m.?
I'm happy to make a friendly amendment to that motion to change it to August 14th.
And Nate, do you, as the seconder, concur in that? Thank you, Dan. That's a great catch. Thank you. Okay, we have a motion seconded and amended. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Chris, I'll ask you to do the next one.
Bill, I'm pleased to move that we accept a donation from town council person Christine Corrado and her husband Andy
Well, he said yes.
in the amount of $280.
Not that he had to. Not that he had to.
In the amount of $280 to support the August Brighton Community Bike Ride and amend the budget to increase the Recreation Department's gifts and donations account by that amount. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Again, thank you, Christine.
My pleasure.
Sounds like it was a great event, and I appreciate your financial help to keep them going.
Yes, the Reconnect Rochester has done a terrific job in developing community rides to show folks their own backyards in essence, and the rides must be free, and we don't want any barriers for participation, but they do come at a modest cost. So supporting these rides means people get to know Brighton a little bit better from 2 wheels instead of 4, and we live up to our reputation as a bicycle-friendly community. They're an organic way to learn how to get about. And too often folks ride their bikes as kids and set them aside and think that, age of 16, we get our license and we drive everywhere. Because we do that, we are sitting in a town hall that is roasting right now because there is a direct line from going from people-powered transportation to the carbon emissions of our four-wheeled transport. So we want to reverse that so that we don't suffer the ill effects. So
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. We now have several items, actually all of the rest of our new business items on tonight's agenda relate to the town hall renovation project. This part of town hall, the core of town hall, is over 70 years old. Not the public safety wing, not the library, they're both newer, but this building is over 70 years old. As you can tell, kudos to the people who are still here tonight, especially to our ASL interpreters. You're in a very hot building because the HVAC system in the building is also over 70 years old. It does not work as effectively as it should, particularly the AC part of the HVAC. Another thing during the pandemic, it really quickly became apparent that building air filtration, in other words, having a healthy building, was an important public health issue. And this building is, and the HVAC system in this building is sorely lacking in terms of filtration. We've been working with a consulting firm, an architectural firm, INX Architects. They completed a study in 2022. They gave us some options to look at. And based on the study and the options they laid out and some potential cost and financial impacts, we made a decision after doing a test bore to see what conditions were like here on the campus. We made the decision to move ahead to install a new HVAC system, but not just any system. We made the decision specifically to install a new sustainable geothermal system here at Town Hall, consistent with the town's commitment to reducing carbon emissions. We expect construction of this project to begin before Thanksgiving of this year. Now, again, this building was built in the 50s, and asbestos was widely used during the 50s when this building was built, and therefore, as part of this project, anytime you get up into working on the HVAC and the vents and you open everything up, that requires complete asbestos removal and abatement. We've been having meetings over the last several months planning out this project. I've told this story many times, but it's indicative of just how extensively asbestos was used in construction in the 50s. We were talking about the windows and whether we were going to be able to reconstruct, refurbish the existing windows, or whether we would have to replace them. And in a rather matter-of-fact way, one of our consultants said, well, the windows are hot too. It took a minute to realize what she was saying. The windows, specifically the glazing in the windows, also contains asbestos. I was flabbergasted, but that's an indication of just how widely asbestos was used during those days. So the project is really driven by the need to replace our HVAC system, but we're going to be doing a lot more. We are going to be addressing accessibility issues. Right now, this building for people with mobility issues is only accessible in the rear. We will be adding ramps in the front of the building. I say ramps too. The symmetry of the front of this building is beautiful. So we will be adding, and of course we have parking on both sides with handicap parking spaces. So we will have ramps on both sides to enable people to come in the front of the building. We will be adding technology and reconfiguring much of the interior portion of the building, including this very room. We will be adding a small addition in the back for our facilities and maintenance people. At the very tail end of the project, we're going to be repaving the parking lot. Those of you that are here in the building on any kind of regular basis know what condition the parking lot is in. And part of the reason for that is the drainage. So we're going to be doing some work on drainage out there. The reconfiguring of the parking lot will actually not be making much of a change at all in number of spaces, but we will be adding some landscaping effects to make the campus a little more attractive. This project, particularly the obviously the HVAC components, but also the asbestos abatement, is going to take time. We are currently anticipating that the project will take about 1.5 years. And obviously, when you're doing asbestos remediation, we won't be able to be in the building. So this central core of the building, again, I want to stress, not the public safety wing, the courts and the police department, not the library, but the core of the building, I am pleased to say that we will be relocating to the Brighton Regional Campus of SUNY Empire State University on Westfall Road during the course of construction. We have been working with the team at Empire State University, both here at their Rochester location, particularly Timothy Cosgriff, their Director of Community Outreach, or I may have missed your title, Timothy, but it's in that range, but also the overall management team of SUNY Empire State in Saratoga Springs. We really appreciate, and John, you've been bearing a lot of the brunt of the lease or license negotiations, but you know, we've had a number of committees here and working with our design consultants, we really appreciate how receptive everyone in the Empire State University organization has been to working with us, to accommodating our needs, and to accommodating the community needs in that building. You know, that's a building, it's a LEED certified. In other words, that building itself is a highly sustainable construction. It is a building that, because it is so new, has great technology and will be able to take advantage of that. So I want to thank everybody who has, and just about everybody in this part of the building has been on at least one of the committees working on this relocation project. People sometimes ask me what keeps me up at night. This is what keeps me up at night, this project right now, because it is a big project. We're asking everybody to relocate to a cooler, newer building while these obvious challenges with this building are addressed. So tonight we're going to be taking a number of actions. The first one, we will be taking action under SEEKR, the State Environmental Quality Review Act, making a determination that this project will not have a material adverse impact on the environment. We will be approving a bond resolution authorizing the town to borrow that portion of the cost. We'll be covering a portion of the cost of this project with some of our ARPA, American Relief Plan Act, COVID relief money, but most of the cost of the project we will be borrowing. So we will be approving a bond resolution on that tonight. We're going to be authorizing this license agreement. We say it was a lease in the agenda, but we're changing it. It's a license agreement with Empire State. We're going to be authorizing a contract with Vargas Associates. Vargas is a local company that provides consulting services to relocation projects, and we issued an RFP, request for proposals, for that. We found the Vargas proposal to be the best. And we'll be making some other budget amendments, all relating to the project, as well as a contract with Spectrum that will include providing service to us over there. So we got a bunch of matters. I will start with the SEEKR neg deck, and I will ask my favorite council member, Councilmember Corrado, if you would handle the SEEKR neg
All
deck,
heard that.
please.
Favorite. In the matter of the SEEKR negative declaration for the Town Hall renovation project, I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
John or Jim, anything to add to that?
I'll just add to that the matter was reviewed by our environmental liaison, Rick DiStefano, to determine the nature of the proposed action, and based on his review in consultation with the attorney to the town, it was determined that one or more categories under the Type 2 exclusion list were applicable to the renovation of the facility, so it was determined that by definition, the project would not have an impact on the environment and would be not subject to any further review.
And I misspoke. I referred to a neg deck. It is really a Type 2 action.
It's a Type 2 exclusion, yes.
Which is
even lower of a threshold.
Correct. Thank you. We have a motion and a second, and I'll ask, unless there's any further comment, I'll ask the town clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Next, Nate, is the bond resolution.
The next matter seeks to approve the issuance of bonds in an amount not to exceed $10,750,000 for the Town Hall renovation project. I move that we approve the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Discussion. This is a resolution that's been prepared by bond counsel.
Yep.
Again,
Harris Beach.
And Harris Beach, yep. And again, a portion of the cost will be covered through our ARPA money, and the rest of it will be covered through the bond resolution. There's no further comments. Deanne, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Chris, the next matter.
This is the bond resolution.
No, we just did the bond, the license agreement.
Save that one for me. I've been reading the revocable permit agreement. I move that we approve the revocable permit agreement with the Empire State University for relocation space during the town hall renovation project. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Any discussion? John, you've spent a lot of time working on
Yes,
this.
Supervisor, thank you. I want to echo the sentiments of the supervisor. I will say the university has been very cooperative and professional in terms of negotiating this document. They have provided essentially every comment that we had requested has been incorporated into this document, with the exception of simply a few that are a matter of state policy that they just cannot amend. But they have been very willing to work with the town to get us what we need on the timeline we need. I can tell you that I wholeheartedly endorse this form in terms of approval tonight.
And honestly, that was one of the things as we were starting this project and looking around at potential places. We've had a long and ongoing relationship, really since they opened. Largely, but not exclusively. Again, I mentioned Timothy Cosgrave's name before, but he really is. He is the community face of the Empire State University here in Brighton, and knowing the relationship we have had with him and the willingness of the folks up in Saratoga, to be accommodating, and over the years and a variety of things gave me a high level of confidence that this would be one of many reasons that this is the location that makes sense for us to relocate to. So we have a motion. It's been seconded. Any further comments? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Nate, the next matter.
The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Vargas Associates to provide move management services for the town hall renovation project in an amount not to exceed $117,500, and to execute any necessary change orders not exceeding 10% of the total contract amount. I move that we approve the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Again, as I mentioned, Vargas was selected through a request for proposal process, and their proposal was determined to be the best. So that's the recommendation. We've spoken with other organizations in town, including some that we work with ourselves, who have used Vargas for relocation projects and came away very, very highly recommended. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. I'll let you do the next budget amendment, Nate.
Yes. The next matter seeks to approve a budget amendment transferring $225,000 from undistributed federal aid ARPA account to the town relocation computer equipment account. Do you want me to read these numbers too?
You don't need to.
I figured the parentheses, it signaled town relocation.
You're welcome to.
Town relocation internet service account and town relocation other contract services account for information technology updates and adjustments for the town hall renovation project. I move that we approve the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Speaks for itself. These budget transfers all relate to the renovation project in the areas that Nate mentioned. And the dollar amounts are set forth, and the specific accounts are all set forth in the resolution. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. And finally, Chris.
Bill, the last item is to authorize the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Spectrum for internet services in an amount not to exceed $4,114 per month for a term of 60 months. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second. Oh, sorry.
And obviously, this will include both time that we are away at the Empire State University campus as well as here in Town Hall. Further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Matters of the supervisor, I am not going to bore you with a whole lot of information tonight, but I do, since Earl does have not only our second quarter 2024 report, but also the June expense and revenue reports, I will ask for a motion to receive and file the second quarter 2024 report. Nate?
Yep. I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the second quarter 2024 report.
Second.
And I'll, Earl, if you can, want to briefly summarize specifically the second quarter report.
Yeah, I think I can do that very briefly. Every quarter, we take a thorough look at our finances, and the update through 6 months is not that much different than it was the last quarter that we reported. One thing we do is track where we are compared to budget, and for the general fund, highway fund, and library fund together, we have collected 78.2% of revenues, which compares to last year at 77.5%. And total expenditures are at 45.2% of the budget so far this year compared to 44.8% last year. So it's looking very similar to last year, and we will continue to track and work with departments to make sure we stay on track with our budget.
Good. And last year was a successful year financially, and I'm glad to see we're continuing to track. And anything specific in, well, let me, we have that motion to receive and file. So Dan, if, unless there's any further comment on those, Dan, please call the roll on the motion to receive and file.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. And specifically the June numbers, anything?
No, just that everything is available online and posted online for anyone interested. We post that under the finance area, and we post all of those monthly reports each month, so they're accessible.
Thanks. I have nothing further. Matters of the attorney to the town. John.
Thank you, Supervisor. Nothing new to report, but I would request an executive session to discuss two matters leading to the promotion of particular persons.
And an additional personnel matter that I've become aware of.
Okay. So. And the third personnel matter. Thank you, Supervisor.
Matters of the clerk.
Nothing this evening.
Matters of the board.
Bill, I've spent some time scanning the revocable permit agreement and trying to determine as an attorney what's an agreement that can be revoked. But I do note that in the agreement, in the very last paragraph, is a restriction on that right of revocation that requires 365 days notice. I was relieved to see that, or 60 days upon any period of renewal.
That is correct, which I had requested and they graciously accepted.
And I wish I had seen it earlier in this document. It's not a toe tap.
Good. Then can I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss those three matters relating to the employment of particular people?
I move that we go into executive session to discuss the matters of employment of particular persons.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. I do not expect that the board will come back out into public session after the executive session. Our next town board meeting will be Wednesday, August 14th at 7 p.m. Thank you for hanging tough through the heat. Thank you particularly again to our ASL interpreters. Have a great night. We'll see you on the 14th.